Hi, my name is Brian Grossenbaugh, and I want to talk to you about what makes a successful educator. What dispositions make a successful educator? Primarily about myself to begin with, and then we'll expand outwards to talk about teaching in general. Now, for me, why I think that I have the disposition to teach, I have a naturally curious nature. I want to find out about things. If I don't understand something, I want to delve into it and get my hands dirty, really research what it is that we're looking at, what we're talking about. And I think that perhaps my biggest asset as an educator is my ability to say that I don't know. Um, as teachers, we are meant to be authorities, but none of us knows everything. Not a single one of us knows the entirety of all the information out there. So I think the most important thing that we can do as educators is to show students that we don't know everything, and that if we don't know the answer, what we're going to do is we're going to go find it. We're going to go research that question and investigate and come back with an answer. Um, Now, how then does that parlay into what a teacher looks like? I think that there is no one thing, there's no one image that a teacher needs to adopt. A teacher is a teacher based on his or her disposition. Doesn't matter if you wear a tie every day. It doesn't matter if you wear sweaters with leather patches on the elbows and some leather shoulder patches. We don't have to all have our Tolkien like pipes in order to be an English teacher, for instance. What you need to have is that appreciation for knowledge, that love of knowledge, and that willingness to impart that knowledge to students. And so, what then does a professional educator need? A professional educator needs to be passionate. And a professional educator needs to embody that spirit of inquiry that we're trying to instill in our students. Uh, and it doesn't matter how passionate a teacher is if that teacher cannot connect his or her students, his or her learners with that same passion, with that information. So a teacher needs to be passionate, but also be able to share that passion with their students, to inspire that same degree of passion within those students so that those students go out and continue learning. And 30 years, 40 years from now, they say to themselves, I remember Brian Grossenbaugh in my case, and how he really inspired me to get out there and learn some more stuff. And if I can do that as a teacher, I feel that I will be successful. Now, I do have some things I need to work on. Um, I need to work on my timeliness in terms of grading papers. I've been a teacher for 10 years, and that has been my biggest struggle. You get a stack of papers, and students want to know the grades the next day. And I want to leave those papers in my briefcase. And so, what I'm working on is setting appropriate timelines for returning my papers and making sure I adhere to those timelines. Um, the last thing that I would say is that, in terms of standards that guide professional educators, timeliness, I think, is one of them. That's why I'm working on it. I also believe that you need to have that appropriate professional boundary between your students and yourself. So it's a fine line. You need to inspire your students. You need to grab your students and bring them along on your journey, but you need to make sure that they understand that you're the educator and they're the students, and that there is a boundary. Um, and so, keeping that at the forefront of your mind, I think, is important. But in terms of appearance, anyone can be a teacher. Beard or no beard, you can be a teacher. Doesn't matter what shape, size, color, creed. Well, hopefully you're human, so species is somewhat important. But we can learn from everything, and that's why equine therapy is an important thing, because we learn things from the way horses interact with one another, and we can apply them to ourselves. So really, there's no standard image for a teacher, but passion, a desire to learn, and a desire to impart that learning to students.